back, everyone, to our Groundskeeper Chat series. I am your host, Meg Kruger. I am coming live to you from Fort Worth, Texas, on the final day of SFMA 2026 here at our trade show. I am joined by a guest that could be described as a white whale for us here, especially for me. We've tried to have him on many times, but I think you may have been busy in the last couple years. You may have had something going on. I don't know. Maybe a little project of sorts.
Yeah, definitely. It's been, I've actually worn a lot of hats in the last couple of years.
So the gentleman you're hearing on the mic is Dr. Sorochan. So welcome and thank you so much for making the time for us.
Oh, absolutely, Meg. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
And it's so exciting. I sat in on the general session that you had the opportunity to moderate, and it's like we've been talking about this, this thing, this big event, this, monumental experience that all of us are going to be able to share here in the industry for probably the last 3 SFMAs.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, this is the real deal. It's actually happening.
Yeah, the light I say the light at the end of the tunnel is no longer a bear holding a candle. It's, we've come to almost the end. We're inside 100 days for the first match for the 2026 World Cup. Yeah. And
it's so well fitting that America, they've seen an advertisement. They've seen, maybe even if they're an avid soccer fan, it's not at the front of their, they have no idea that it's been somebody's livelihood for the last.
Well, I think it's a testament to the entire industry.
Yeah.
Whether it's golf or the sports turf industry, when you meet people. They say, what do you do? And I'm a golf course superintendent, or I'm a sports field manager, or I do turfgrass research and teaching. They think, well, it's just growing grass, right?
Yeah,
and, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to being a sports field manager. And,
yes.
And from everything from the science to the hours, the hard work, the communications that they have to do, everything that you have to do. So this event, the World Cup, is going to, bring to the front, what sports field managers do and who they are. Yes.
Now, when you meet somebody for the first time, how do you gauge whether or not you should go further when they ask you that question? What do you have to see in them for you to be like, all right, I'm going to give them the full enchilada here, because you could go deep.
Yeah, absolutely. And, depending where in the situation and stuff, I usually give an over-under how long it takes till they say, oh, you want to come look at my yard?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, do I need you?
Yeah. Or
I need you in my backyard.
Yeah. Or they ask you, what you must have the best yard in your neighborhood type thing. Yeah. So, but,
typical.
I like meeting new people. I like talking to people. So sometimes I just put out what I do, and if they want to ask more, I go deeper. But I just usually tell them I'm a professor at the University of Tennessee. And if they ask what I do, then I go tell them what I do. And usually the reaction's like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. If I'm in an airport and my flight is delayed, I will start talking with somebody about the turf industry, but typically at a party, I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't got it in me.
Yeah.
Just know that I go somewhere for work sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's because it's such, there's that surface level, title or what have you that people may be able to comprehend, but there's that huge iceberg below the surface.
Yep.
It could turn into a 3-hour long conversation for sure.
Absolutely.
So what has, you weren't able to come last year, I think you mentioned. That was the first time in decades.
Yeah, since 1995 I started coming to this. And that was the first one I've missed, yeah.
So almost 3 decades. Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
So what's it like being able to be back here and sharing the excitement that, has been your day to day, and then to have people here excited for what the findings are going to be, how we're going to pull this off, all the wonderful things coming out of your corner of the world.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot to me being back here because, it's been, like you said, my day-to-day and my night-to-night, because I literally wake up at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, thinking about this. Yeah. So I have been for the last 3 years, for sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize, I did realize, or it came back to the thing of just talking to people and seeing the people in the industry.
Yeah.
Because, I learned so much from them. You know,
Yeah.
I get so much input, and people have so much to say when you tell them what we're doing research-wise. Whether I run into another colleague like Dr. Goatley or something like that, and they just have so much to contribute. My colleagues, field managers, people in the industry, and we're exchanging information. And basically, what we did at University of Tennessee and Michigan State University is they asked us to do a lot of exhausting short studies, big studies, all sorts of things to provide evidence-based data for FIFA we could give to them so they can give recommendations to the 16 stadiums and also the training facilities, but it's mostly focused on the 16 stadiums. And, as we got this information and started putting it out, we got feedback from people and like, what about this and what about that? And we just grew from, organically from everything.
Now, is this something that FIFA is doing 4 years ahead of every single World Cup? They're finding researchers, or is this something that's unique to the World Cup in 2026?
This was the first time.
Okay.
This is the first time they started the research program. And, with Alan Ferguson coming on board with FIFA in 2018, developing that relationship. And, I developed a relationship with him and got to know him and, from 2016 and our initial meeting, and then having tea. I think it was in Tea and Biscuits in 2017 at a coffee shop in East London.
I love it.
When I was over there, and that's when he had asked, John, this is a big World Cup. It's going to go from 32 to 48 nations, and a testament goes to Alan because he wanted to change how things were done with FIFA because they'd never had a pitch management manager before.
Yeah.
He's the first time agronomist that they've had that's led the World Cups. And he said, could you help lead the research for this and do that? And so it's where it spawned from there. And
I can imagine that was one of those, a lot of people describe it like a before and an after. It's one of those moments like to be tapped for the first ever, something like this, but just the opportunity to be so close to the game and really bring your passion to it and bring a new perspective. Like that's definitely like a before I was tapped and an after I was tapped. Two different worlds.
Absolutely. And, I love the game. So that's, being a big fan of the game is another part to it. But it's a testament because what I love about it also is FIFA stepped up and they invested in the research and the science. And, we've always depended on golf. Golf has driven our industry for innovation and, different things for technologies. And now, Trey and I from Michigan State, we're giving a talk next in a week and a half or whatever.
In Orlando.
In Orlando about the World Cup stuff. But the
love it.
legacy is what we're going to say is how's the science that's been done for sports turf research benefiting, how will it benefit the golf? And I think that's going to be really cool.
Very exciting. And I will say that is what any soccer sports field manager that I spoke to in the last couple of days where I was like, all the eyeballs, all the awareness, that's so exciting. And all of them said the thing that they're most looking forward to is the findings that they're going to be able to apply after the fact. Like how their job and their professionalism as a sports field manager is just going to be elevated from the real life application that we'll get to see here.
Absolutely. And, a lot of this research and what we're going to do is we're going to create a journal. So like a symposium journal of all the research trials that have been done. So we can make it available for anyone and have it set up so that it's, almost like a university extension bulletin, some of the things like that. So these people can take it to, whether you're a high school pitch or field or baseball field or whatever, how is it going to benefit all levels of sports fields? And that's going to be the legacy that comes from a lot of this is we're getting a lot of valuable information to help people.
Definitely.
Not just at the highest level.
And, the tribe or the community or the arsenal of resources that has been, it literally feels like a Marvel movie. The folks that you had up on the stage with you the other day and all the people who have contributed to the World Cup, it really feels like, seriously, superheroes in their own right, that you guys have all come together. And I can imagine that being involved in industry groups like this, embedded in it for 3 decades, made it that much easier to know those people, or at least you knew the person to ask, like, who's the person I need for this job?
Yeah, and that's the great thing about this industry, too, because, you can pick up the phone or write an email to someone and now it's all over the world. I've gotten to know people all over the world that can contribute and be part of something. It's nuts. And, we had our first FIFA pitch management research field day. It's now 3 years ago at the University of Tennessee. And that's where the gravita of this or whatever just really hit me was there was 275 people there. And I think they were from 60 different countries.
Wild.
And it just blew my mind. And, at the university, and the president of the university who attended this to welcome people, he came in thinking, oh, this is the turfgrass team doing something like this. And then he looks over and he sees Tom Wilson wearing his, Miami Dolphins gear, and he sees Travis Hogan, the Kansas City Chiefs thing. And then he sees people like from all over the world then coming. He's like, whoa, this is big.
This little project that you've been tinkering away at. Yes. That is so cool. And, we typically start every Groundskeeper Chat asking, for that turf origin story. So when did this really come on your radar? Taking it all the way back to the beginning, when did this career become an option for you? Was education your passion to, be in the classroom, research your passion, or was it the sports turf side of it?
I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Okay, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, and when I was graduating high school, I backpacked through Europe with my best friend. The day after we graduated high school,
So did my dad.
Did he?
Do you want to know?
Now you make me feel old. Thanks.
Well, his travel hack was, this is crazy. This will tell you all you need to know about how I was raised. My dad and his friend went and backpacked Europe, and they did it with no money, obviously.
Yeah.
And they would check themselves into insane asylums like around 11 p.m. because you wouldn't get evaluated until the morning. So you would get a bed to sleep in, and you would get a breakfast before the doctor would come in and evaluate you, and they would clearly identify you're not insane and let you go.
Oh, wow. I didn't know those existed when I was going through.
Isn't that crazy? He said he did it in a pinch a few times when it was too cold to sleep on a bench. But I digress.
Well, no, but that's, I did it, and I was 18 years old, and it was 1988.
Yeah.
And we basically had the book Europe on $25 a day.
Crazy.
And, I should have said it was $18 a day because I was 18 and it was 1988 or whatever, a lot of eights. But, we did a lot. We slept in hostels. We slept a couple times. We ended up sleeping on beaches because we couldn't get into a hostel or do something. Or we would, we had the unlimited Euro pass, so we would take the train one way and then sleep on the train and then take it back to where we wanted to be and just go. And that's just what you did. It was a lot of fun. But when we were in Europe, we got to southern Spain.
Okay.
And my neighbor growing up, who was like a big brother, Craig Ewanchuk, and he was like a big brother to me. And his dad was a superintendent in Calgary. And Craig grew up in the industry, working with his dad and did all these things. And he went to Michigan State. Okay. And he studied in the 2-year turf program. And when he was graduating from it, Robert Trent Jones came and asked, he wanted Michigan State and said, I want the top 3 students in your program.
Oh, my goodness.
And Craig was one of them.
Okay.
And they moved him to southern Spain, where he designed and shaped golf courses all over Europe.
The dream.
And Morocco for a job. And so me and my buddy Ian stayed with Craig, and I was like, this is really cool what he's doing. It just, I love it. I love to travel.
Yes.
I love going over, I especially love Spain.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite places. But, that always resonated in my mind.
Yeah.
I go to the University of Calgary. I'm studying political science and geology, thinking I was going to be a lawyer in the oil and gas industry.
I love it.
And, I don't have a good poker face to be really good at law. So I went and worked on the golf course at Earl Grey, and I thought, I love this. I want to do what Craig did. I want to get into golf course construction and design.
So cool.
Go to Michigan State. I transferred to Michigan State in the 2-year program. While I'm there, I go do an internship in Arizona on a golf course and thinking I'm going to get more experience. And then that's when Michigan State was tapped with to do some stuff for the 94 World Cup to put grass in the Silver Dome.
Okay, a full circle moment.
Yeah, and I love sports, so I went back and I asked Trey if I could go work for him on that. Yeah. And I decided I want to finish my degree, so I finished the 2-year and I went into the 4-year program.
Wow.
And Trey said, go see John Steyer, who's his technician that he had just hired, and John hired me and was working. And while I was doing that, Trey I mean, John Stiers told me, after a year, he goes, you need to go to grad school.
Yeah.
And, I was the first generation in my family to go to grad school. I'm the go to university, sorry.
Okay.
I'm the, youngest of four.
Okay.
And, it's going to university was new and wasn't thought of, let alone I never thought of like a master's, what a master's is or a PhD and all that. And I fell in love with the research that we were doing for that.
Very cool.
And and the sports turf research is one that I always was driven me to, because I played all sorts of sports. I got hurt playing sports. And, how do I make them safer? How do I make them better? And that's how it kind of spawned for me.
I love it. And then when did University of Tennessee come into the picture?
Yeah, so normally you go on to other places to do, one of your degrees. And I ended up staying at Michigan State. I became Trey's technician. And he was sending me to Argentina to do projects for an indoor project. So working with the university there, going to Spain to do soccer fields. Yeah. So it's like, why would I go anywhere else? I'm getting this. And as I was finishing my PhD, I was looking to go to industry maybe. Mm-hmm. I still wasn't considering academia. Then I decided, okay, I would love to do academia. Yeah. And it was about 2000. Okay. I made that decision. It was about 2 years before I finished. And I started looking and applying for jobs. And I had in fall of 2001, I applied for a job. And like I said, they got an interview at Purdue University. Mm-hmm. And the interview wasn't until February. Okay. And at that time, in November, I went to the scientific meetings. We went to our agronomy meetings, and I had a poster up there. And Dr. Coleman Ward was reading my poster from Auburn University, and he goes, you'd be a really good fit for the job at Tennessee. And I said, the job at Tennessee, that got filled. Yeah. He goes, it had, but then the person backed out, and it's a continuing search. And, Dr. Tom Samples, and he goes, Tom Samples was just here saying, I don't know if we're going to get this position filled. This is that. It's 2001, just after 9/11. Things were, you never know what's going on. And so I went back after that. That's early November, and I found the old paper announcement of that job, and I called because just so happened my wife, who was my fiance at the time, her parents retired from Michigan to just south of Knoxville, Tennessee. Wow. And we were going down there for Thanksgivings already. Yeah. So went there made sense. Yeah. So I called them and said, hey, is this position open? They're like, yeah. I told them who I was, and they got, well, it's a continuing search. And I said, can I come visit you? I'm going to be down there in a week. And they're like, absolutely. I go down there, I visit them, meet them, give them my application, before you applied for things online and stuff. And they said, well, can you come back in 2 weeks for an official interview? So I came back on December 16th and interviewed for the job. Got the offer in January, just after the holidays. And I've been at Michigan State 11 years. Yeah. And during those 11 years, it was rough times for Michigan State football. They just started beating Michigan when Nick Saban left, right? Yes, but before that, we hadn't beaten them and all that. But that bowl game, Tennessee played Michigan and gave Michigan their worst loss ever in a bowl game. Goodness. And then a couple of days later, I get a job offer. And I'm like, this is like the stars are aligning, I
can't be seen with these people anymore.
So, I got the job, accepted the job. And, before I even interviewed at Purdue, where I had the interview set up, not that I would have maybe not gotten that job. I got this job because I was the only one that applied for it. I love it. It was lucky. Meant to be, for sure. Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. Truly incredible. And I love asking people that because, you assume like, this person's been here and there. But the turf family trees that you start to connect in your mind when you hear the names like, I had no idea this person's, their time matched up with this person or what have you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's there's a lot of those connections that go through. And, just looking at the SFMA conference this year and, watching the, Adam Tomes from Iowa State, he did his master's and his PhD with me. And, it's like family, just like you're like a proud dad watching someone help an association and do so much. Just as a professor at the university where he's at, and his scientific contributions, and then for giving back, that's volunteering his time and he worked really hard over those years, and it was like, wow, this I'm so proud of what he's done for this whole industry.
Well, so many folks in the industry say that about the nature of this network. One of the most rewarding elements is whether you're on the academia side or you're, running a crew every day, watching them go and achieve in their own corners of the world is one of the best things. And especially when you get to come here and like see them in action and what they're doing, it's just an incredibly rewarding experience.
Absolutely, yes. And and everyone, you can get on the phone and call anyone, and they're willing to help and wanting to help. That's the beauty of this industry for sure.
Definitely. And who have you enjoyed? Like, who has become the people that you are going into battle with? So we've asked this question every episode this week. Like, who are the 3 turf legends that you're going into battle with? Like, whatever that battle may be for you, like making sure that you're conducting the research or cataloging it properly, or you could even be like in the trenches of the actual World Cup. Like, we've got back-to-back training facilities or, sites that need our attention, whatever that may be.
Right. And, so from our perspective, we're providing the research. So when it comes to the stadium stuff, we're contributing and helping. And when it's observing the plans that people are putting in, the construction plans, everything. And so we contribute and provide it to FIFA. But, from the research standpoint, it's been a two-headed monster with Trey and I, working at this collaboratively, side by side, dealing with this. But then the third one, like the other one, would be John Steyer, who was Trey's technician at Michigan State, who told me to go on.
It's a
and now he's my dean.
He's
my associate dean at the University of Tennessee.
That is wild.
So the 3 of us, getting the band back together.
Literally, it's like a coming home tour.
The 3 Blues Brothers or something, But it's bouncing those ideas off each other. But at the same time, going back to, I could call Doug Karcher at Ohio State, or I could call, my colleagues at the University of Tennessee are tremendous. I got Dr. Jim Brosnan. Any question on PGRs or weeds or something like that, or even sports turf, because he's a sports turf person as well. Yeah, and then Dr. Brandon Horvath, who's, our turf pathologist, but, we went through our masters, our PhDs together. Now we're colleagues forever, and we're like brothers. And
I love it.
Just he knows everything I do, and I know everything he does, and we just share ideas and do all that. And then Dr. Becky Bowling at the University of Tennessee, she's our turfgrass extension, and she just brings a whole other approach to a lot of these things and sees it from a lens of some of the water, the sustainability. She's very organized, like Dr. Jim Brosnan, and then those 2 are trying to herd cats, me and Brandon Horvath, and the mesh of my colleagues at the University of Tennessee, we all get along so well. And when one person does something, they can get the job done. When 2 people do it, they can get 3 times the job done. There's 4 of us plus John Steyer. There's 5 of us, and we can still go call on, Dr. Tom Samples, who's retired, and it's a meeting of the minds. Magic. And it's just so much fun, and we just get ideas, and we can laugh. And then our technicians, I've got 4 technicians, and I would be nowhere if it wasn't for them. Dr. Kylie Dixon, he and I have worked so hard.
There's a great photo of the 2 of you online.
Years.
That one with the machine, and I was like, wow, this is like a modeling ad. Like, you guys both have the biggest smiles on your face, and I'm like, if this isn't an ad for why people should get into the industry, I don't know what it is.
Well, I've never heard people say that's a great picture of you, but
I'll have to show you after we get off light. I was looking it up the last week, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a great photo of you guys.
Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned from all of this, though, is with these interviews and things like that, I've got a beautiful face for radio and the perfect voice for silent movies.
I love it.
Then I'm ready.
I love the tone of your voice. It's very engaging.
Yeah, but no, it's like my colleagues at Tennessee, to get back to that, but everyone, like Tyler Carr, who is a former student of mine at Ohio State. Even John Kaufman, my first PhD student, I could call him up, and I just get this whole network of people. Had a great conversation, learned some things from Scott McElroy, who was here, and we hadn't talked in a while, but it's just, I can't say enough about everybody that is a part of it.
I was going to ask you, like, how do you recharge from it all? But really, like, it sounds like you're living the dream. Like, it sounds like these are the good old days that you'll talk about one day. Like, to be this in tune with everybody and working alongside with all these people that, like you said, you mesh so well together. And it's like, I love that it literally sounds like the living, breathing dream of what people work for in their career. Yeah,
and, it's keeping that engagement going. It's the team at FIFA, that Alan has assembled, and you and all the way up to their administrations, all the way up to the president, who came and visited and wanted to see what's going on. So to cool. All the people that work with FIFA have been unbelievable. Alan, you and David, Weston Appenfellow, there's Carlos. There's two of our students that work there.
That old Weston guy. It's such a shame because yesterday I think we recorded like 12 episodes. There was only 2 episodes where he didn't get mentioned. I'm like, this is a crime. The publicity I'm giving him for free.
But it's that FIFA team, and then all the stadium managers. And I love seeing how they work together.
Yes,
and the sod farmers are actually talking to each other and communicating, and it's awesome.
It's impossible to conceptualize, even for somebody in the industry. I'm like, all the moving parts.
Yeah,
it's an incredible feat that I just really can't wait to see. I can't wait to be at like a sports bar. I'm gonna be just sitting waiting for somebody to ask me, like, who are you rooting for? And then I'm just gonna go on a tangent or something. Let me tell you what I know about the game here. That's gonna be an exciting time for me.
I love it. Yeah. Because I'll be driving home or something, and then I'm like, my wife will open the door because I've opened the garage door, and she's like, I'm in the driveway. I haven't pulled in because I've been on the phone for. It's only a 30-minute drive home, but I've been on the phone for an hour. Sitting before I pulled my car and just on the phone with Tony Leonard or Travis Hogan from Chiefs or Tyler Morris, and I've called them or they've called me, and talking, and it's just where it goes. That's one of my favorite things, and that's not going to go away when this is over.
No.
Alan and I have already planned. We're going to meet at that same cafe in East London for tea and biscuits when this is done.
Oh, that's so sweet. That is so sweet. Well, and you mentioned who I maybe assume is the true MVP of the last 4 years, your wife.
Yes, yes, 100%.
Because where's her excitement level for this? Is it more for it to be over, or is she so excited to see all that is to come in the accomplishment?
She's definitely my biggest champion for this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it started when I was at Michigan State, and we met at Michigan State, and she was an English major. And my passion that I think I exude, and I hope I carry over to my students and everyone, got her.
Yeah.
And she's got a master's in turfgrass. And
What?
And she's done one of the most amazing studies, I think, in the world, which was
burying the lead here.
turf.
Oh my gosh, we went 26 minutes without talking about that. That's incredible.
And she did a study. She worked with Trey and Jim Crum, Dr. Crum, and she looked at high school sports fields and what could you do with the minimalist.
Yeah.
And she did surveys and surveyed all the schools in Michigan, and found out, when you'd ask how much do you fertilize, and someone would say, I put down half a pound a week of this, and I do this, and like some nice school districts, to another one that says 3 bags.
Yeah.
Like 3 bags of what? 3 bags of urea, 4600, 3 bags of triple 10.
Yeah.
They don't know, so that was the level. And so she did a study looking at mowing once a week versus 3 times a week because of the budgets and all that during summer. And then she did a core cultivation versus not core cultivating, and then 3 different levels of fertilizer. And then she looked at the combination of those.
Crazy.
And she found that, the biggest takeaway is if you could mow 3 times a week, you get a field that's going to wear better and be more performing, so safer for the kids, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was a great study. And, but now, people couldn't afford sometimes to mow 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So now with these autonomous mowers or whatever, now you can do that and, start to imply what she did. So it's cool. But she's
cool.
She's been there always helping. English degree with master's in turf. So anything I've written, she could edit.
That is incredible. Oh my gosh, the perfect pair.
Yeah, she proofreads my exams before I give them to the students, and she goes through and takes them, and she still gets 90, almost 95. She's not in the industry anymore. She works in finance.
Okay.
so she's been in finance. And
oh my goodness.
She did the ultimate sacrifice as I got to UT and started doing things, and my program started growing and traveling a lot and doing a lot of things because, working with the NFLPA is another thing I do. And so she's one that sacrificed to let me do that and grow, and where I've had 3 jobs, it feels like. But
yeah, incredible. And I always make sure I plug the wives because they're the true MVPs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the partners of anybody in this industry. That's incredible.
Yeah, but she's been to this meeting. She's a SAFE scholarship winner.
I love
it.
That is so incredible. And what is your wife's name?
Lisa.
Okay, that's incredible. Well, and so how do you like recharge? Like whether, those phone calls you mentioned, but really how do you get away from it when you need to? Like what are the things that you're doing, your hobbies, or what Tyler Morris fondly, he calls this segment like behind the headphones. What podcasts or books or music are you listening to when you just have to like tune out for a little bit?
Yeah, well, I'd like to listen to music. The other thing is, I have Sirius XM radio, probably not to promote something, but satellite radio.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think everyone, if I was dictator of the world, everyone would have to listen to 15 to 30 minutes of comedy a day.
Yes.
And so I love going into work and just listening to the comedy channels. And I want to be laughing by the time I get out of my car to go to work.
I love that. That is such a great.
So that's
your first ruling when you get into it.
Yeah, well, I do it because everyone needs to be smiling to start their day, and like it doesn't matter who. You just need to laugh.
Yep.
Right. And so
I start every day with it's a 1 hour long comedy podcast.
Okay.
But it's all surrounded by pop culture.
Right.
So it's like this super niche, like the things I know.
Yeah.
And they're called like the most 5 important stories of the day, and they could not be more unimportant, but it's incredible.
I love it. But I like to listen to a lot of them, even some of the raunchy ones like your Anthony Jeselnik's or something like that. But just whatever. Everything just gets it. But, the escape is, when I get home, my backyard is kind of an escape for me.
Okay.
We've got to around the pool and things like that, and just tinkering around the backyard. And I'm obsessed with my hummingbirds.
I love it.
So
I love it.
I've got 6 hummingbird feeders that go up and
So
around,
cool.
and so and Lisa spawns me my obsession with it. They got for Christmas. I got one that has like the camera on it. So I saw
those. That was like one of the big gifts on all the gift guides this year. Was the camera,
so
the Ring camera for the bird feeders.
So
and that's why I always ask that question, because you'll find like people have the craziest hobbies that you would never know.
Yeah, well, and we had bird feeders before, but then I just found that I put the bird feeders in the neighbor's yard because the birds just fly over and do droppings all over your back patio and everything. It's like, well,
nice.
hummingbirds aren't so bad.
Nice.
So, but just sitting there listening to music and just trying to escape some of that.
I love it.
Watching my kids play sports. That's
and how
the
many
biggest
kids
scare.
do you have?
I have 2 boys.
Okay, I have 2 boys.
Do you? Nice. We're gonna be empty nesters this year. So
my goodness.
So and this spring is in Tennessee, high school soccer is spring sport.
Okay.
And so my son's, he's been soccer his whole life.
Oh, incredible. My gosh.
And it's like,
I can't imagine. I hope he gets to be on the sideline for one of these,
I wish,
things.
Yeah. But the biggest letdown for me is not the World Cup coming to an end, but watching Charlie's soccer career come to an end potentially before he goes off to university. And, because I had the joy watching both my boys grow up playing sports.
That's so sweet.
And doing that.
So Charlie, and what's your other son's name?
Ian.
Great names.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Those are great. I love asking people boy names because they're so hard to come across.
Yeah.
And I have a River and a Noah on my boys' names.
I love it.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah. Ian was named after my best friend that I went backpacking through Europe.
That is incredible.
It's also like Scottish for John.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So.
I could never name a son Ian because that was the boy I was obsessed with also at grade school. He's the one that got away. I always joke with my husband.
Well, if you met my Ian, you'd be obsessed over him too. He got his mom's look, so
he could be my new plug-in for why I need to use the name.
Yeah, but he's a junior at UT, and he's studying food science.
Cool. Oh, so cool.
And he's got a minor in entrepreneurship, and he just added AI, so it's really cool.
On the up and up.
Yeah.
They're all, and it's always incredible when a parent is doing these things and taking on these huge feats and challenges and accomplishments, and you're like, wow, what their kids must think of them. But then you always find that their kids are the ones doing it in their own right at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's so incredible.
They ground me. I'm just dad to them. So it's awesome.
That is really special.
But one of my favorite things though, because I get to go all over and obviously look at all these nice stadiums and been all over the world, and I take a selfie of every stadium I go to on Snapchat, and you can slide and say what the name of the stadium is, and I snap it to my kids and their friends.
That's so cool.
And it's you can see the evolution of when I was doing this for like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And when Charlie was really little, Dad, would you stop snapping my friends and all that? Because they love it.
Yes.
And he's embarrassed to. Now he's like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool. So.
Oh my gosh. It's claim to fame. I love it. Well, John, thank you so much for taking the time to record with us.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
And honestly, I'm so jazzed to see how this all comes. I'm sure you're even more excited.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you already know this, but the support of everyone behind you and all of the people involved in pulling off this incredible feat.
Absolutely.
Everyone's cheering.
My technicians, undergrads, grad students, the ones at Michigan State, they've made me look good over the last 3 years. They've absolutely would be nowhere without everyone that's contributed, from the industry, people, with mowers, donating mowers, or just helping give ideas of how to do research. And the list would be a phone book to the name of everyone that's helped on this, for sure.
That ending credit would just keep going. You'd have to pick a really long song for that.
Freebird.
Thank you so much, John. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Take care.